Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding this important hearing today. Thank you guys for coming. You guys are probably starting to see why it's tough for us to get anything done up in Washington, D.C. I do want to defend my colleague, Mr. Cloud. I don't believe he ever said that, the Signal Chat episode was a success. I believe he was talking about the strikes against the Houthis. I also find it rich that my colleagues on the other side, who now claim to be the accountability and transparency police, said absolutely nothing, when we pulled out of Afghanistan and 13 Marines were killed, amongst other issues. So moving on to this hearing, I think it was great, Dr. Amoroso, that you talked about potholes and sinkholes. You're looking at many of these hacks that we've experienced in the past as potholes, but you seem more focused on the bigger attacks that will come in the future, and you're referring to those as sinkholes. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Sir, would you look at some of the individuals that have hacked into our energy grid as a possible sinkhole scenario?
Yes.
Can you tell us what your major concerns are when it comes to infrastructure like that?
Disruption.
Yeah. Isn't it true that the former FBI Director Wray even talked about that himself?
I'm not sure. That's a common point, though, certainly.
Mr. Steinman, do you remember that?
I believe I do, sir.
Yeah. What do you think would happen if the CCP or one of our adversaries were to take down our energy grid?
I think it would sow incredible chaos. I think it would be damaging to almost every American in the first and in the second order, given the food supply chains that we use to eat every day, the energy required to purify water, to process sewage, et cetera. And respectfully, sir, I would just offer that there have been numerous unclassified statements by executive branch senior executives to say that we do have foreign adversaries on that energy grid.
Right. Absolutely. One of the things that you guys brought up is whoever controls AI and does the best at implementing it into our cybersecurity, will obviously be in the best position. Can you guys talk to how the United States government is doing in implementing, developing AI and using it within cybersecurity?
I can offer a couple of points. I spend a lot of time on that. The first, I think everyone should recognize, again, another analogy. If you're a human being playing a well-programmed computer in chess, you realize you lose every time, right? I think everyone gets that. So just, do you think we can beat a computer at cyber? You kind of can't. And as your adversary starts to really move in that direction, you have to do that too. Now, when we think AI, in fact, for any of you, if you're thinking AI, the first word that should come to mind is data. You have to have data to train systems to learn, just like with children, they have to be exposed to experiences to learn. AI has to be exposed to data and, to some sense, experience. That's the first thing we need to do as a nation. So we have a lot of privacy concerns and a lot of issues of intellectual property and ownership and competition, and you've seen some of it in the hearing here, some of the squabbles that we have in our country. We have to fix that. If we can't fix that, then we'll never be able to build, like I've heard the President talk about this big global shield. Well, I think that's a perfectly good metaphor for AI. We need to do something that allows us to protect against AI offense, and the only way to do that is we have to architect something that makes sense. We need to have the right access to data. We have to have the national labs involved, and large critical infrastructure has to be involved. Academia has to be involved. And our government leaders need to be working together to help us coordinate something along those lines.
Mr. Steinman, you want to take that one?
Yes, sir. I would also offer that it might be worth the committee's time to look into some of the barriers to information sharing that private sector executives and companies face. I believe it was mentioned previously around DHS's role as acting as an information clearinghouse, but there are a number of barriers around liability protection that I believe, in order to adequately address, will require congressional action. So I would just offer that up as a possible place where you all could do some work.
Thank you. I yield back.